All right. Good morning, everybody, and happy Wellness Wednesday. I always like to call Wednesday Wellness Wednesday because some folks are saying, let's just get over the hump of Wednesday. I'm like, no, let's focus on like our awesomeness on Wednesday because we're like halfway through the week and that's how we roll. So good morning and welcome, everybody. I am Vigil. We are in the midst of the program that I host once a year called the May Money Talks Mastermind. And this program is all about bringing amazing, phenomenal women to talk to you about money, finances, wealth building, how to manage your money, how to consider new opportunities for building wealth. I am super excited to be here with you during this very first week. It's been going solid, going strong. And I just want to say thank you all for your comments, for your encouragement, for your participation. Today, we have an amazing speaker who you should be familiar with by now, the awesome Jo Welch, the Will Fairy. I will read her bio, and so you can get to know a little bit about her and how amazing she is. Jo and I have been working together for like a week now, and fast becoming awesome friends and colleagues because she really knows how to speak to you in a way that you can certainly resonate and relate to what it is that she has to say. And so her expertise is making sure that you understand the advantages of having a will put in place. We presented last month at the IWB Mastermind in one of our private groups on Girl, Get Your Will On. And Jo talked all about the importances of that. So without further ado, as a first-generation American of Colombian parents, a Gen Xer, she grew up in a marginalized space between Latina and American cultures. She is influenced by an almost 30-year commitment to the deaf, blind, and hard of hearing communities. Jo's mission for 2022 is 1,000 wills. The will is the one element in the plan set for our family and for our businesses. Most people believe it is only for those who are sick, who are elderly, or who are already wealthy. As entrepreneurs, we must secure the bedrock to build our foundation. It can start with us. We can be the wealth builders in our families, especially if we are here on an entrepreneurial platform that says something about us. It says that we want to try and build the wealth for our family. We want to try and grow something bigger than what we have currently. This is you already. Inclusion professionally and personally is key. It is her patience that is endless, and I can personally attest to this. Whether the struggle is with technology or the next steps, Jo Welch achieves the impossible community building, especially via Zoom, demonstrating her value of sharing knowledge across ages, cultures, and languages, which engage her audience along in the moment and along for the journey. Jo's intersectionality brings insight, wisdom, and humor, all of which is her magic. It is truly her special sauce. Jo is the mother of an awesome trans teen who is also the president of the Mystic River Theater Company, a 501c3 teen-run troupe, who also aspires to be a director of musical theater and got into her school recently.
Pace University.
I'm super excited about that. Congratulations about that. Jo is a partner and a wife to her blues guitar playing husband, Monster Mike Welch. Make sure to connect with her at askjo.org or jowillhelp.org or .com. We'll talk more about that later. But thank you so very much, everybody, for joining me. And to Jo, hello and thank you.
Hi. Yeah. That is definitely a mouthful of a biography.
I love big bios.
I do. And then I also want to recognize that everyone's on Facebook. You might be in your car. You might be looking at this on your phone. And so at its core, what I am is a Latina Gen Xer who is raised in a very intersectional life in so many different ways. And the reality of that experience is that I get to I'm very inquisitive. I really want to understand where people are coming from, because even though I may not have your background, the reality is that we're all in this together, right? We're all in this together. While we have different backgrounds that need to be acknowledged and recognized, we also can find the ways to talk to each other. And I got to tell you, I love Vihil. You are amazing. You're a fantastic leader.
Thank
You are
you.
just one of the things that I'm sure all of you already know about her is that she is just ready to go and is looking for not only innovation, but really moving that needle, not just for herself, but for each one of us. And I just want to thank you so much for taking and creating this space with your magazine, with the different groups that you're holding, that you are holding space for, that you're building an empire, and you're also leading by example. And those are such important qualities.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thank you for doing so and carving out the space. I remember the first conversation we had, and I was like trying to take in all of this. And now that I get to do it kind of side by side with you, it is just such an honor and such a pleasure. So
Thank
that's,
you.
this is what's important, right? It's all about connections. And while I am the Will Fairy, and that is about fundamentally understanding that without a will, we are all going to pass on. And I know that that's a hot topic. It's a painful topic. It can be, but it's also part of life. And really trying to look at it from a different angle, and look at it as a life examined, all the wonderful things we're doing. It's actually a celebration of what you're doing in this space, what each one of you are doing in your homes and in your computers and on your phones and out in networking worlds. We're building something. And the reality is that money mindset is the thing that often stands in our way. And believe it or not, I'm going to talk about a few other things here today that are not necessarily will related, but it all comes back to how are we protecting ourselves? How do we see ourselves as value? And that is the crux of the money conversation, right? My background may be similar to a lot of yours. I'm a child of immigrant parents. My parents are from Colombia. They came here in the 60s. When I say Gen Xer, I was born in 1970. Technology came into my life as a pager in junior high school. I know there's now middle school, but junior high school. And having that relationship with technology, I think also influences how we access information. I'm turning 52 this year. I'll be having a big karaoke party. I'll let you know all about it. I saw that face. I know. That's the beautiful thing. That's what I say, Latina patina. That's the beautiful thing of being Latina. But that I did not understand my money mindset until just in the last maybe 10 years, maybe a little less. Like, it took me a while to get through some of the misconceptions. And because of that money mindset, like the wrong way, it actually held me for a long time for not getting my own will. So I'll admit it. The reason I'm the Will Fairy is because I saw that I wasn't until I was 40. My child was 6 years old before I got my first will in place. And, you have to unpack that, right? You have to look at what gets us there. And so I can only speak for myself, but I feel like this is a very similar path. How you got here might be different. For me, it's about immigrant parents who came and they were fighting their good fight. They were, coming to a new world and had the posture of navigating the United States and all the things that it was in the 60s, in the 70s, which is while very much the same, but very different time. I grew up with that as my model. And that also made me very fearful, to be honest,
Yeah.
but also was part of collective culture. So even though there were a lot of us orphans, right, little bits and pieces of different families, we also belonged to the larger community. So you might have that in your own cultural background. You might have that in your own faith community. There might be places where there's that cultural value. We are checking in with each other. We're learning and really taking not only from the people around us, but our elders, our youth, that's that collective. We are making decisions that are going to serve everybody. And at the same time, that's one part of my life that I didn't have a lot of context for because I lived here in the United States, which is I was born here, so I am American from that point, but at the same time raised in this family. Of course, I'm modeling the people around me, but there's this very individualistic look of the world. You don't see necessarily multiple generations all the time in the same home or the same community. Doesn't mean that it's not out there, but as a culture, it's a more individualistic culture. The idea of children moving on at age 18, getting a job and leaving. Now, I will say, and I bring in a lot of different sources for this conversation, historically, we also have to look at, and this is as my experience, as an American woman, although a Latina, as an American woman, when I was born, women were not allowed to be pregnant and keep their jobs. Like there's a lot of social, words that are coming at us that start to create the foundation of our belief. If you're an immigrant, there's definitions to what that role and what that place is at that time. If you're a woman growing up in this country, it wasn't until 1984 where things started to really change, where at my age 14, women left their positions if they got pregnant. Like that's a very powerful thing. Imagine being a CEO, a C-suite, owning, whatever it is, you own even your own business, and the fact that when you chose to have a family, you had to leave. That's a very powerful message that's out there. If you're an immigrant and you're coming from another country, what are those cultural values around? And again, I'm coming from the lens of being a woman. How do you manifest that even coming to another country? Very often we hold on to a lot of those things, and those things are passed on because that's what you know. And so looking at that and thinking about who our leaders are, who our teachers are, what is the path forward? Very often a lot of that, stay quiet, stay small, don't make a fuss, it feels like this very big divide between starting your own business and being a mother, being a family woman, being a wife. What is the value around that? Like all of that to me every day plays into how do we make those decisions about money and our own wealth and our own value. Now, you might be thinking, oh my God, I thought we were just going to talk about wills here. And we are, because if we can't see ourselves as having value, if we can't see that we are, whether it's breadwinners or home runners, we're running the homes, we're parenting, we're putting our time has value, has money attached to it. Now, it may not be dollars, but when somebody decides to stay home and the other person goes into the workforce, regardless of gender, somebody is providing a value for the home. And we see it. We see these ideas of like that the home is a small business, right? We should be looking at it that way. And we are. We have people power, right? Who's doing the distribution of the jobs? Who's taking care of the children? If you have to outsource that might be hundreds of dollars a week to bring money outside of the house, right? We're always thinking in those ways, but we're not making that connection to business. We're not thinking about it through a business lens. And on top of that, society is also adding the less value. We look at the 50s and the little housewife in the dress with the cocktail for the husband. So we see those gender roles being, I know I got deep, girl, the gender roles being reinforced. Then you add the Latina, the Black, the brown. How are we represented very often as lower class? Like all of this stuff is the information in our heads. And then we have to say, I want to raise. I want to start my own business. I'm worth $100 an hour, $50 an hour. Oh no, I'm not worth that. No. Someone says, do you have a will? See how I brought that around? Do you have a will? And you're like, I don't have anything. And so what we're doing is we're allowing those messages to take over and hijack what we can very clearly see is a business, ourselves as having value, our families as having worth. When I brought up the Will Fairy and I talk about generational wealth, I'd get the challenge of like, generational wealth is an established thing. This family has generational wealth. And I agree. But I have to say, where did it start? It has to start somewhere. And again, I cannot thank you enough for deliberately talking about money and putting it on the table. It's uncomfortable. So if you are out there, if you're listening to us in Facebook land, whether it's in the moment right now, IRL, meaning you're listening to me right now, or you're watching this on repeat, what are your thoughts about money? Are you like, you know what? I know what I'm worth and I ask for it. Or are you saying, I don't know, this seems a little too much. And you have to be honest with yourself because that's the only place that it starts. It starts with mindset. And if your mindset is that you do not have value, then when I say to you, do you have a will? your response, even though you might be running a business, supporting a family, taking care of childcare, running all the business parts of your, like paying bills and bringing money in and out of the house, all of those things, you're ignoring that value in the will process. As well as, do you own your home? Some people do, some people don't. So it's not only about property, it's also about the other little things. My mom is this amazing green thumb. She was a farmer in Colombia. She came in here and she's maintained having a very rich, lush little space, right? She's got banana plants and she grows oregano, and she's always like, she finds the littlest thing, she plants it, and then all of a sudden you come back and you're like, what is that? And she goes, do you remember that little dusty thing I picked up on the ground? And it's this big plant or fruit, it's something that bears fruit, or it's just, that is of value. And when she moves on, when she passes, when she ascends to heaven, or however your faith looks at it, when she moves on from this planet, what happens to that legacy? She might want some things for that. She might have to let it go. She might want to share some plants, some specific plants with people that meant something to her. I'm 52, so she's my mom. So clearly there are no 18 and under in her house right now. But, what if you have pets? What if you have a business? Which brings us back here, right? And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect the dots, right? And it starts with you, right? Who are you and how do you see yourself? How do you see your value? And it's not easy to change that mindset. For me, it came with a lot of guilt. Put your hand up or write in the text, just write guilt. There's a lot of guilt for asking for what I'm worth and sticking by my guns and not saying to somebody, I'm not gonna, no, that's okay. I'll give it to you for free. That's okay. I'll give it to you for free, right? It's okay. I'll do this thing. I'll just give it to you for free. And that's a big disconnect. But also when we're looking at creating our businesses as small business starters, entrepreneurs, multipreneurs, maybe you are a part of an affiliate or a network marketing. Maybe you're creating something and you're selling it. Maybe you've started a movement and you're building something. How do we look at the value, starting with us, and then moving it to where are the experts that influence us and help us make good decisions? Right? I know I've gone deep, girl. Like there's more. If everybody's cool with it. And so I am bringing it to break it down into, this is a little bit more about valuing ourselves and also thinking about experts in our world. And so there's a few books I have in the works right now. And so I'm going to share some of my thoughts around this, which is that as the collective culture, I also work in the deaf community, very collective culture, where we're making decisions for the group as well as ourselves. And it's hard sometimes. Like, okay, if I'm going to do it this way, then I'm sacrificing myself. If I do it on my own, I'm leaving my family behind. There's a lot of battle in that. And just know that you're not alone. For me, it's about being a first gen. And for that classification is that you have two cultures at least inside of you, being a first gen. I'm also a part of a group called Project Enye with a woman named Denise Solar Cox. She's already has one movie out, and she's coming out with another. And so that's one of my little tips for the day. Just like check out if you're Latino or if you're that first gen where you have multiple cultures inside of you that you're like, I don't know where I fit in. That's me. That working with her and being a part of that community was a game changer for me, because finally I could look and see people like me going through the same things I was. So that's starting to build my value. I started to look at how I spend my time. And if I'm going to do one thing over the other, I had to start thinking about how do I use my time and think of it in maybe even monetary ways. Is it worth for me to do this admin thing that will take 5 hours for me to do?
No.
Or should I outsource that and get somebody to do it and pay for their time? Woo! Wait! How? This is me growing up. How could I possibly hire someone to do this when I can do it myself? I've got a printer and I know how to use Excel. And, how many times did I take the burden on for myself, then thereby filling up my plate and not looking at ways to make my business more successful? Not just reaching more people, but actually being paid for what I'm worth and for what I'm giving. I'm going to tell you right now, it's hard. Even telling you this right now, that there are things that I offer that cost money. I'm like, because I want to give. Like, my heart is about giving and helping. And this is how I do it. I do it in speaker space. I do it by making connections. I do it by networking. But then at the end of the day, I still have to find a way to maintain my value. Right? And I bet you, raise your hand or put in there, have you always been the everything person? Plan the party,
Yeah.
cook for the party, do the party, wake up early for the party, and everybody else is standing around, right? So we're like, it just keeps cycling. And the reason I bring in these like everyday experiences, for me at least, is because, one, I know I'm not alone, right? I hear you're like amening, and we're like high-fiving,
Absolutely.
and we're not seeing our value. We're not pausing, because, and this was a fascinating lesson I had in the Enya Dream Accelerator that I was a part of with Denise Solar Cox as our coach and our mentor, our madrina, was that a lot of the things that we're doing are coping mechanisms so that we can feel like we have value, because we don't know how to ask for it.
Yeah.
Right? And that brings us
Deep,
again, going
girl.
back
It's
to,
deep.
yeah, it's deep. It's deep. We're talking money, and money is so powerful, and we have to talk about it. Do you know how many people daily tell me that I shouldn't talk about it? And I'm like, if I don't talk about it, then how am I going to be at a place where I'm making better decisions about it? So it starts with you.
Yeah.
It starts with your dependents, what's going on around you. When we think of a will, we often think about our children, our relations, our family. Maybe, do you think about your best friends? Do you think about the maybe smaller business things that you've done historically? Do you think about the fact that maybe you're a coach or you have a participation role in your church? Maybe you are leading Girl Scouts or doing some sort of other thing. And so that ecosystem, the larger part of us, also has value. Right? That's also our network, right? So that's my parallels, right? That's also our network. It's also the people who are going to cheer us on as we're starting our businesses, the ones who are going to support us and get the word out, right? Like that is infrastructure. But also, going back to the will, how are we addressing that in terms of, God forbid, when the time comes? From the side of our business, how are we thinking about those relationships, and how are we looking for expertise inside of there? And the reason I keep going back to expertise is because that, for me, is one of the, like a switch, right? If it's open, meaning you have no or I don't know if open's the right thing. If you don't have an expert, if you don't have expert in your world, things are just flowing and you don't know where they're going. But when you have an expert in your world, like Vihil, like the Will Fairy, like, the people that you could, not only that you can trust on an interpersonal level, but also have those areas of expertise, then you're making better decisions, right? And so what I'm actually going to lead into here is to talk about how do we bring that into our everyday. And so I will be transparent. I am the Will Fairy. It's a program. I'm doing a 45-day will challenge. I have a free gift for you. You can learn how to get yourself ready for that, and we can talk about that later. But I also want to bring into scope here some other services. I am an independent associate with a company called Legal Shield. I'm an affiliate with them. And the reason I love them and I'm bringing it into scope is that they have available a lot of services that actually will help you save money. Now, this is not a sale. This is about, I'm going to go through the things that I know that were brought to my attention in this relationship. Vihil, you can talk about your relationship as well. But no matter what you get from this experience and listening to it, the underlying message is that by finding experts in the different areas of your personal and business life, ultimately you're going to hold on to more of your wealth, make better decisions, get the necessary pieces in place so that when the time comes, you've had a life that is recognized and examined and is able to move on to the next generation. That's ultimately what we're doing here. I'm using a couple models that work for me. They may not work for you. That's okay. But we can see that the content and the different layers are very important. Are we good? Did you want to say something, Vihil?
Thank you for that. I'm just in regards to how we look at various programs that we participate in that bring us residual income, how we work so hard to build this thing, like for me, it's the empowerment empire. It's events like this. It's my one-to-one business coaching, and it's, our publications, the magazine, and our Boss Latinas anthology, which we still have space for if anybody's interested. But it's making that decision to surround yourself with people who are working to help you also get elevated. I grew up in a small farming town. There was not a lot of financial experts around me. There was not, a lot of influence in my life other than the local banks that I didn't grow up having a personal banker or having, the opportunity to realize that I could just go and walk into a bank and say, can you explain this to me? And that was not something that, at 15 years old, I was told I could do. And you can do that. You can walk into any bank and talk to a financial advisor and say, can you lay this out? How does the structure work for me? So I'm so glad that we're at this point now where, the goal for my legacy is I want to be seen as someone who is a connector of people to what they need, whether it's through women's empowerment, whether it's through this, annual and this is the third year we're doing this program. And I'm so excited for that. This, the annual May Money Talks Mastermind, where we're talking all month long about the ins and outs of various aspects of money, wealth building, financial management, just to surround yourself with people who are willing to open up and have these conversations, I think is so crucial and is so key. And I think culturally is not something we do unless we're sitting around grandma's kitchen table, talking about this girl and what happened to that cousin and, and whatnot. And let's sit at grandma's coffee table or grandma's kitchen table and talk about stuff that's going to elevate our lives. How to financially invest, how to put your will together, how to make good financial decisions, how to be a good salesperson so that you're able to explain what it is that you're offering, that you chose to be for your career, for your way of, making money to support your own family, on how to do that, different ways on how to do that. And so I think that by continuing to have these conversations, we get more comfortable around those topics. So thank you, Joe, for being so good, I think, at getting rid of that, that fear and that angst when we're talking about these subjects. Because I think that's what we have to get past first and foremost, is that fear or, oh no, you're trying to shove something on me that I don't want. No, it's knowledge. We're sharing information that you need to know, that you should consider as a responsible person, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone who wants to build that legacy. Because if you don't come from generational wealth, you could start building that generational wealth. Like how we talked last time, it could start with you.
Start with you. And I want to acknowledge that and thank you for bringing this in, that the whole thing about this money mindset is not that we are not promoting our businesses. Each one of us has to that's the goal, is to promote our business.
Yeah.
Right? What we don't want very often is we don't want to sound salesy. We don't want to be a pain in someone's neck. We're afraid of something about that. And so I'm actually going to take just a minute to pivot into that space about pitch, because the way we start doing things is by investing in ourselves. Right. And so I promise you, we will get to all the supporting pieces. But just because you brought this up, I did share a link that that Vihil will put into the Facebook as well. Yeah. One of my business coaches is a woman named Forbes Riley, and she is a celebrity and a $2.5 billion gross queen of pitch. And she has, you're going to love this, a $19 class that is available on Sunday that starts to put your mind into the place of how to pitch. And the goal being exactly what you said. And I think, again, these are the little pieces where we're so afraid of the no. We're so afraid to be wrong. We're afraid to come across as whatever those things are, right? These words, maybe it's part of the way we heard gossip. Oh, they're just so this, they're so that. They only prioritize money. Well, why can't we have a grown-up conversation about money?
It's good to
and the
prioritize
importance
money.
of it, right? Importance of it, the desire for it, the goals of it. And for me, the biggest piece is also how to be an ethical, wealthy person.
Right.
Right. And that to me is the more of the struggle. Is I hear people, well, they made their first million, and so they stopped caring about all the interest that they had when they didn't have $1 million. And I think that to me, the ethical wealth is going to be the bigger picture, that as we start to leave the place where it's so obvious of the need, that we have to continue to do something. And so for me, that is a $19 pitch class. I'm also, right now, I'm a part of her 6-day like intensive pitch class. It's running through until Saturday. So I would say if you guys have interest, my affiliate link is there for that. You'll see it. It says ForbesPitch.JoeWillHelp.com, and it'll take you to her site. It's $19. If that's all you want to do, just check it out. She has one on Sunday, which I know is Mother's Day. But it is a worthwhile. It was one of the first things that made a big difference for me also, because I don't want to seem salesy, because I'm not salesy. The thing I want to deliver to you is how important it is for us to recalibrate our thinking. And when we start recalibrating our thinking, then we're going to start being open to the things we want to manifest in our life. Right? So absolutely. Our relationship did not build on salesy. I reached out to Vihil because I was very fascinated about her magazine. And oh, by the way, I think I owe you an article. Her magazine and the book, and trying to find, how do we tell our stories? There aren't enough stories out there about especially women who have that intersectionality, queer, brown, marginalized for disability, whatever it is. It could be a million things. And so we need to be telling our stories. And how do we stand in that and also counter some of the cultural stuff where it's like you're calling too much attention for yourself. You're taking too much, people tell me I take up too much space, and I have learned, and I'm telling you, it's a journey. I take up the right amount of space, and that's okay. And maybe I'm not your flavor of the day. Maybe you don't know yet that you want the whole hot fudge sundae with the whipped cream. You're thinking you just want the little kitty cup. Right? You just want the little kitty cup. But I'm telling you, it's okay. And we have to learn how to ride with all that and take what we need. I think this pitch class is perfect for a lot of folks. And it's just going to give you a framework. Again, it goes back to mindset and framework to be able to put yourself in that position. So that is a place that's going to start earning you money. And that is a gift that Forbes has created and has put out there from her experience. And look how powerful she is. She's not even here. But have you ever seen this? It's the spin gym. So like you want to take care of, you want to get those Michelle Obama arms. The summer's coming. I sit at my desk all day long. And so she has this thing that she invented that people told her that art isn't going to work. But now that we're all home and we can't always go to the gym, or maybe you can't afford to go every time. You see how easy this was? Like literally she taught me how to pitch this because it's her product. But it makes sense. And I carry it in my purse, in my little, do I have my thing here? In my little spin gym thing. And I tell people about it. It is ridiculous. And it's this easy. It's string. But it's fun. It is fun. But also, if I keep doing it every day, I'm going to see the results. And by using that as the example, because that's her business, I can then use it in mine. Right. And so now we're going to go to what is happening in people's businesses that are keeping us from looking at those experts. Right. So we have to take even one step back to be like, well, what problem is coming up? And I'm going to say that you may not even think these are problems because you have been using Dr. Google to solve these problems. Because again, especially as a Latina, as a woman, my resourcefulness knows no bounds. There knows no bounds. If you don't have to, you just tell me what you need. I'm like, just finish the thought. What do you need? I will figure it out. So Dr. Google is our friend, but it's also, I think, one of our worst enemies because now we think we're experts in everything. So let me ask you, are you a small business that doesn't know how to get started with your LLC? You have an idea and you don't know how to form it. Or you have an idea, you don't know what you should make it. Like, what is the difference? Do you have a business that you've been maybe handling, as someone would say, like off the record, or, oh, it's not really a business, it's just a hobby, or this is just my side thing? So again, we're going to point out, since we've already established that lens of value, right? Oh, I just make a kabillion cookies a week and I just, and I just give them to all my neighbors. And you're like, why are you not manifesting this into some sort of small business? Oh my God, I would never, but you might be doing 20, 30 hours, and how do you start to shift that? How do you have somebody who talks to you and says, well, maybe there's a way for us to monetize this, to make this into a small business, make this your passion into your profession. And you may have heard these phrases before, but like, it's not a job if you really love it. I'm going to tell you, it's always a job. Everything we do is, because we have to be thoughtful. We have to be mindful. So maybe you are doing something and you're like, I don't know what to do next. I need a business coach. I would recommend business coaches. Maybe you're doing something and you've now have invoices out. You've been doing it and you have no contract. All right. Well, how are you getting the contract? Again, Google is a resource, but it's only the best resource when you know how to use it. If you're just grabbing something out there, right, and just being like, this, I guess this will work, what you're doing is all of these things, you're avoiding the expert. And how do you find an expert, right? So how about you've put out an invoice and they haven't paid you? You did the work, you did it well, you all agreed, and now they're not paying you in a timely way. How many have eaten those invoices? How many of you have eaten those invoices? How much did that cost you? Under $1,000, but maybe almost $1,000? Like the time, the effort, the back and forth. How do you do this? What do you do? Actually, it's what do I do about this, right? Okay, well, they didn't pay me. Now what? And so all of this is leading to looking at, well, how do we find that expertise? And in a small business, what you would do is you would find an attorney who is specializing in business items. And now, again, I'm being transparent that we do have an affiliate link. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But you might have someone in your world who already is doing some business stuff for you. Excellent. This isn't about diverting from that. It's about the reminder that maybe you need to use them for more things, or be very specific about how you engage with your attorney. Maybe look at it's once a year, you're going to go through all your materials and make sure it's up to date. What a lot of people don't realize is that everything we do has a law attached to it, whether it's in your state, out of your state, the kind of material you're doing, how it's been transmitted, the time of what was stated in your invoice and the payment agreement. Like all of those little things are laws. They're actually guidelines. There's actually like text about all of it. And you can't assume that just because here in Massachusetts it runs this way, that in Texas and in California and Arkansas and all these places it's going to be the same. And that again are the places that we're not paying attention. That's the hole that happens, that you go, oh, I thought this was going to work, but then they said, oh, but you didn't sign this, so therefore it's null and void. And you've lost the deal. Maybe you feel like you don't want to do business with them anymore. Maybe they don't want to do business with you anymore because of how the process trying to collect the money happened. You don't have a scope of like, who are you supposed to talk to? How do you move this forward? Like all of those questions, there are people who know how to do this. And for me, and this goes back to my growing up, I never thought I was worth paying money to have somebody represent me in that way. I didn't. I'll tell you, as recent as maybe even 10 years ago in my life, that I was my first career was as a sign language interpreter. And there are invoices that I just never followed up on. There was one guy who actually stole money from the event and left everybody unpaid. And I was like, I don't even know what to do about this. And that was at least $300. $300 that somehow, again, we don't want to talk about money, but I will happily throw it away. I'll just throw it away. I don't know how to activate it. I'm afraid. I'm confused. I'm not going to deal with it. And so you have to take a moment with yourself. And I just want you, if you're looking at this at any time, go ahead and put in the chat how many times. Or maybe you want to put in the value, about $500, about $1,000, right? And so again, we're already starting to shift that money mindset. Now, you had brought up, let me see if I wrote down. Okay, so I wanted to just tag on to, because I know that this is part of a much bigger infrastructure. My one talk is part of much bigger. So I wanted to acknowledge financial capital, right? Like we can see the formality of that. And that came from Stephanie on Monday, that you might be given a loan or capital maybe you've earned for actual property or things that you're going to do in your business. Again, we're in that tracking and how do you do it? You should be watching that Monday mastermind to find out more about that information. She's a great expert.
Awesome.
Right? Great expert talking about that. But again, we can't look at all of these as separate parts. They have to be seen together. Maybe you're not going to need capital. I work from home. But I do have things. I do have an office. I have equipment, so it may not be that I'm doing a brick and mortar. I might not be buying like specific things, but I do have my dedicated desk. I do have all my property. Is that considered capital? Is it not? Like, you see, already I have questions. How do I put it on my taxes? Taxes. Oh my gosh. Like, right? Like, everything leads to another. And again, it goes into this money mindset. And believe it or not, all the things we're talking about also are reflected in your will. Yep. How are those agreements made? Is it done by you as a sole proprietor? Is it your LLC? Is it a separate entity? How does that feed into your personal monies? What happens if you were to pass? Does the company get dissolved? Like, that's a lot of questions. And I know I'm overwhelming you. I know it. And I know that some of you have already thought about the questions and you're just like, I don't want to look at this. It's okay. Nothing's happening right now. So just take the breath and know that actually we have a solution coming very soon. Also, Itzel brought up money mistakes, and that's where I actually want to lead into this. Is again, when we're not looking at experts, when we're not thinking about it from that direction. I'm going to use an example. So again, I have representation for my personal life. So I have a law firm that I use, and then I have one for my business life. And so when I have questions, I'm able to go to them and ask, what can I do about this? So I'll use one personal example. I got a ticket because I took a stop sign. Maybe you guys speed. Maybe you have a teenager who's driving.
Call it the California roll. You just you get up to the stop sign and then you go and keep going.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to tell you that I did not have a California roll that day. However, the police officer said roll. And I'm like, I didn't roll. But that's a whole other conversation, right? You can see, like, I'm like, no, like my pride, my emotion. I want to fight her. I want to be like, how could you be like that? It's the wrong conversation. I can have that conversation with my friend and be all mad at the cop. The reality is that this ticket is going to be money out my door. So how much could that possibly be? The ticket itself was $268. Okay, so I could pay that. Then, how many people know how long points last on your license? So if you're out there,
5 to 7 years.
3 to 5 to 7 years, depending on what it is. 1 point to, and if you don't know about points, if you're maybe new to driving or maybe you live in a town where you don't have to drive, that is they adjust it based on risk. So when you get tickets, you're more at risk, and therefore the prices of your insurance go on. As well, you can cover your whole car for all the soups and the soup to nuts, like all the bells and whistles, or you can do minimal coverage. Well, as a 52-year-old woman who is not in danger of, like, I'm not speeding and doing those things, I have very little coverage on my 2011 Ford Forester, Subaru Forester. I've got some on there. It's covered. Make sure that other people are covered. Very basic. But I have a teenager who's going to learn how to drive this summer. And guess what I need to do? I need to put full coverage on my little POS. It's not a POS. I actually love her so much. She's red and I love her so much. But for my car that isn't really very valuable, I'm going to have to max out all the insurance on it because I want my teenager to be able to drive it. So let's go back in time. I get the ticket. I say, forget it. I'm just going to pay it, right? The same like the $300 invoice. I'm just going to pay it. It's just like Itzel was talking about. Money mistake. I'm just going to do it. I don't want to think about it. I want it off my table. I want to just not deal with it. So now I paid $268 and they add points. And those points last for 5 years. And maybe it's 2 points. Maybe it's 3 points. I don't know. It gets to my account and now my insurance at even the small plan is up by several $100s in the year. And then my teenager is going to drive. So now I'm going to have to max out the protection. And now I'm at that 2 or 3 point level for 5 years. How much did my $268 ticket cost me? I love this example because we don't think about it. We don't think about it, right? You're like, oh, I'm just going to pay it. Well, now you're really paying for it because it's not happening in the moment. It's happening over time. Maybe you do a couple of those. Maybe you don't get a contract read. Maybe you have several invoices. How much is our not bringing in an expert costing us in our personal and in our business life?
It could definitely be a great deal. And if we don't find out, we don't know. We don't know. It's like, let's use this opportunity to find those things out for ourselves.
Exactly. So going back to that. So I happen to use a company that I really like. prepaid. It's called a PPLSI. And what they have is they have a small business plan. Now, you might have other companies that provide this, or maybe you have an attorney, or you're involved in a law firm, or it could be a million different ways. But the reason I want to bring this up is just to put into perspective. Advice, right, on unlimited issues. They have a personal plan, they have business plans, so you're able to have different issues come up and you just call and ask them about it. Consultation, so that advice and consultation, the reading of contracts up to 15 pages, so you're able to get a contract. I got a big gist of things, but when COVID hit, I needed to look at these very simple contracts and say, if you're going to hire me for work, what's going to happen if everybody gets COVID? How are we dealing with what you're accountable for and what I'm accountable for? If something's in person, you're going to host an event, you're going to do something in someone's house, and now you can't because it's a pandemic. Where is that wording in there? How do I word it? Do I have the right to word it? What is the relation? Like all that. I'm like, I don't know. So I just take a picture of it and I send it to my attorney and they take a look at it. So they review contracts and then tell me what I'm signing. I got the EIDL loan for my business. They sat with me for 90 minutes and I got the advice I needed. What am I doing here? How do I keep track of it? What am I signing? What could possibly get me into trouble? 90 minutes. How much would that cost?
Mine is $265 for 90 minutes.
Yep. Right. But in this arrangement, with the way the PPLSI works, is it's actually a subscription model. And again, I am telling you about it. It is one of the things that we want you to know about. And we want you to be able to measure and listen to this and look at other things in your life where you're like, well, what is going to make the best sense for me? Maybe you're like, you know what? I have my tried and true attorney. They're doing all my business stuff for them. Fantastic. But I'm going to cover the different categories to make sure that you are bringing what you need to be bringing. Advice and consultation, contracts read, letters and calls on your behalf. What if that person is not paying you? Well, I talked to my attorney and they say you are correct. They're not paying you. They owe you the money. The attorney may write a letter and send it on their letterhead, law firm, LLC, all the things, and send it to them and say, we're advising you to please connect with them. Now, what exactly it says, it's going to differentiate, but the point is it's going to say, this is starting to escalate on this side. We don't want it to. How can you work it out? We don't want to get, you know what I mean? Like the point is not to sue somebody, which I got to tell you again, what happens when something happens to us? We get mad, we get feisty. We're like suddenly the toughest chick on the block. We're like, no, I'm going to sue them. You're not going to sue anybody. Like that's such a unbelievable waste of time. Unless you've gone through all of the steps. And that's the other part of it. You don't have to hire an attorney just to sue people. You can hire them, again, to get advice, to get a letter or call on your behalf. And oftentimes, that moves it along. And I want to acknowledge that very often, that is the place where people tell me they're the most afraid. I don't want to be a bother. I didn't want to call the attorney. Are they your attorney? Yes. Do they give you good advice? Yes. Do you make good decisions when you do it? Yes. Why didn't you call them? I know they're busy. I'm like, literally their job is to be busy about you, right? Like it's all mindset. I don't have value. Therefore, none of these things I should be activating because I don't have value, right? Stop it. No, I'm
No, it's good. It's
no, seriously, stop it.
Drive home. We do that. We do that so often. We minimize our wealth, our matter. We minimize ourselves. And we cannot do that. You don't need to do that. It's okay to stand up for yourself. Let's throw some women's empowerment up in here. It is okay to stand up for yourself and ask for what you're worth. And if you have an attorney on, that you're paying, whatever it is that you're paying them, that's their job. Utilize those resources. Reach out to your experts. If you have a question, don't be afraid. You are only holding yourself back. You're holding your family back. So let's work through that and get rid of that mindset that we are not
together.
That's
because you know what? I feel that every day. Vihil, do you feel that every day? Like, are you also struck, right? Like, what do we do? Personal matter comes into your world. What do? We poo-poo it. We don't give it value. And as a result, the only person who ends up paying for it is you. So imagine if you wanted, I don't know, copyright, trademark, patents, securities, intellectual property. Like, where do you get that information? Google, I get you. But again, if you find a service or an agency or an attorney who will give you that advice, whether it's with
That's the
PPLSI
key.
and the Legal Shield product, or if it's with your own attorney. These are all the things that you should not be figuring out for yourself. Also, think of the other side. Why would you want to put in? I have people who tell me, they're like, I spent 5 hours on this. I spent 10 hours. I've looked all this up. Why would you want to do that? Are you an attorney? No. Am I an attorney? No. The only thing I really know is that when I have this question, I go to my attorney. That's what I'm telling you. When I have this question, I go to the expert. Valid. So the document review, collection letters. So this product, the service that we're talking about, actually has collection letters. So if the time comes where you're in a place where you need to have that collection letter sent, there's a mechanism for that. Do you have a contract? Is your wording on your invoices correct? You create your document, you show it to an attorney, and you say, what am I missing here? Here are the things I'm trying to protect. Here are the things I want to make sure are clear. Is this clear? And they look it over for you. They don't create it. We do have some plans that actually do create some contracts and do some bigger picture things. Right now I'm staying with the basics because that's a whole lot of a conversation, and we can absolutely meet with you one-on-one and feel free to set appointments. But again, just looking at the bigger picture of how do we look for an expert? How do we measure that expert? How do we know what we have to know what we're worth? Get started somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to use an attorney that you have a contact with, that you're getting through a referral, ask them the questions. How much do you charge? What if I have additional questions? What happens if I shoot you an email? Is that a chargeable minute? Is there any packages maybe for, business owners? Find out. Just ask them what's included. That goes the same for your will. So for, again, going back to the affiliate link to this, not the affiliate link, but the company, PPLSI, there's a personal plan that also includes your will. Guess what? Will Fairy, here to help you move that down the road, but also allows you to do a supplemental plan for your business. And it becomes literally a $45 a month charge. It's barely $1.50 a day. And you're able to get all of these questions answered in this way, being able to make an appointment from an app, being able to talk to an attorney either here or in another state if you're doing business with another state. Suppose you got that speeding ticket in California, but you were driving to New York and you live in Arizona. All of that is included for barely $1.50 a day. Now, that's a good value. And I'll tell you right now, for me, who's still the up and coming business owner, I don't have $150 an hour. I don't have $300 an hour. I certainly don't have a $5,000 package for somebody right now, but I do have $45 a month that allows me to start to find all of these ways to keep my wealth in my control. And so we are bringing this to the team. We are bringing this out to you because, and I forgot to mention, let me see here. Just want to make sure. The information is substantial and we're going to get it to people. But the reason I brought it to everybody's attention here is that I'm excited to say that we're launching this additional set of services within the empire. And again, if you have these things in place, it's all good. But if you're looking for something that's going to support your business and wrap around, it's like a big business hug. It's going to come in and you say, I don't know what I'm doing. And you can call them and say, I know you're my attorney. You're doing these things around business. I don't know what to do about this. I need advice on how to get started. You're then going to have an expert in your hands. Now, are they going to break the law for you? No. Are they going to write every contract for you word for word? No, because we have to take that ownership as a business person. But we're going to an expert and saying, is this right? It's something to consider. Vihil, do you want to speak to this? I know I kind of transitioned. We didn't fully plan this out.
I know that you had a hard stop, so I wanted to make sure that I was respectful of your time because it's getting right about the time that you said you needed to close out. But what I have been doing is, so if you are that type of person who, what I've been putting across on a lot of my platforms is, some of the tangible services that the Empowerment Empire provides. Not only, through our business coaching and through our business consulting, I'm also helping you get those foundational documents created. So your business plan, your financial plan, your strategic plans, your action plans for this next year, for personal and for life and for business. And so once you have those plans, then you can submit them, to a legal team to have them review, to take a look at. So we can prepare those documents for you here at the Empowerment Empire, and then through our affiliation with, a legal team, then we can connect you with resources that can help those documents get reviewed so that they can have an attorney's stamp of approval to say, yes, you have everything that you need. So if you don't have those documents already created, it's something that I've been putting out there for the last couple of weeks, that there's something that we definitely do here. And it's part of my larger program for the Empower You, which is what we do once a year for 12 months. But some of the services that I can also pull out of that for some individuals, especially if you're participating here in the IWB Mastermind about May Money Talks, you mentioned that, and I can make sure to pull out these services that you need so that we can help you get that foundation started. I mean, this month long of conversations is all about that. What do you need, and how can we connect you to the resource that can take care of that need for you? We want to really normalize the conversation around wealth building. And as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as women who are taking charge of life, we need to know these things. And it's okay to say that you don't. It's okay to say that you don't understand these things, because that's the first step to opening your mind to receiving the knowledge. Take little steps every day to get you to that place that you want to go. And you just, believe in yourself, keep moving forward. You can absolutely do this. You just have to reach out. You have to book those appointments. You have to make a consultation call, and you can simply start the conversation by saying, I saw your presentation on the mastermind. I want more information. I don't really understand a lot of what I need. Simple.
Yep.
Just
And you know what we can do
honest.
also is we can maybe set, because again, what you've created here is the whole big picture, right? One of my programs is called like U360. And sometimes we're only looking at different pieces of it. So we can absolutely start looking at it more holistically, put in some more time, maybe just have, if people, maybe specific times during the week, we can meet with folks and just kind of do an overview and make sure that people know what's available. And again, the whole goal of this is to empower you to feel like you have information to be able to make good decisions. And it all circles back again, going back to why I'm here. I am going to be stepping out very shortly and leaving the room. So I do appreciate that. That's why we're going in this direction. Just going back to, how does the will fairy fit into this? Because once we see the value for ourselves, once we see the value in our business and how to maintain the basics, right? Make sure that we're stepping off on the right foot, get that CRM, get to have a business advice, to have a website, all those little things. Oop. Hang on, 1 second. I have someone who is being very insistent, and I just need to
Yes,
say,
no worries
I
at
am
all.
in a meeting. Cool.
What I can share is that we are having, for this particular topic, if you want to know more about the connection to legal services, we're going to be having a closer conversation on it this evening. We had it last night, tonight, and tomorrow night, because Joe is also now my partner, that we created this awesome partnership, because of my invitation to her and for her reaching out to me about being on the monthly mastermind, where last month we went in depth about wills. This month we're doing more of an overview in the May Money Talks Mastermind. But we are doing a one-to-one conversation with a small group of people to really talk to you more about these particular services, about Joe's particular presentation. Some of our speakers and I have been talking about making sure that we have, a way to continue to follow up with one another. So if it's not through here, if it's not through, this conversation, we are going to be having a meeting tonight at 7:00 p.m. Pacific time. And that's going to be 10 p.m. Eastern time. We did it last night. We'll be doing it tonight at 7:00. And then we're going to do it tomorrow at 7:00 to go even further into the affiliate programs that we've created through the Empowerment Empire and this new fourth pillar to the Empowerment Empire. So we still are offering business services and coaching. We're still are going to be doing our Magistra magazine and our Boss Latinas anthology, the online events, the in-person events, as well as now connecting you to personal and legal services through a host of different opportunities. So
I love that you're creating this one-stop shop. So folks
yeah,
who are involved in this empire are going to be able to find all of the different resources that are out there.
yeah.
And so I am so excited to be a part of this. I look forward to meeting folks more directly. I know right now there's been a lot of that one-way webinar, like you just see us in Zoom. But tonight at 10 o'clock is going to be in my Zoom, actually. It's www.askjoe.live.
I just
And
posted it on Facebook for us
very
too.
good. And so it's actually going to be that I can see you, you can see me. We'll make sure that there's time for questions. We want to hear, what is your business and where are you in the process? So if you come tonight, while it's about information, it's going to be a little informally, like a little networking, so that we actually know what's going on. So feel free to bring, and it's going to be a very quick ask of you, your name, your business, and what part of the business are you looking for support in? Where are you right now? So that we can get to know you a little better. And again, I think this is such a beautiful evolution, right? To start to not only provide the big structure, but now we're starting to provide the support from the bottom. And so I'm so excited. I do need to step off. I'm
Okay.
going to let you go because this is your room, so you can keep talking about all the wonderful speakers you have. I
Will do
look
so.
forward to meeting each and every one of you. So much love. I'll make sure that my links are in the chat as well. I'm not going anywhere. So bye, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much,
Adios, amor.
Joe. Talk with you soon. So I just want to say thank you so much to Joe for jumping on and for giving this great opportunity to really discuss with one another. What is it that you feel like you do not have in your business? I think it's so important that we really call that out. And during this month-long conversation of the IWB, the International Women in Business May Money Talks Mastermind, we are speaking all month long to phenomenal women who have insight, expertise, as we just got done speaking about, in a way that's going to affect your income, your finances, your wealth building, your generational wealth, which we talked about. It can start with you. So this is just a really great way to start your day, Monday through Friday this month from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific. As you mentioned, or as Joe mentioned earlier, she is in Boston, so she's on Eastern time. So tonight and tomorrow night, at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be doing another presentation together to really talk more about this new fourth pillar of the empowerment empire. And that's connecting you to legal services that you need as an individual person to be able to connect with Joe, the will fairy, to have your wills taken care of, to make sure that you have the business services that you need, to make sure that you have your contracts looked over. If you have an attorney already, great. I have an awesome attorney who I use, Vivian Oropesa. She's been on here several times, who she put together my LLC for, and she will continue to do a lot of my big stuff. But for those like one-off questions, that I just need to call someone for, like, it's a great opportunity to be able to have that for, less than the price of your monthly Starbucks bill, that's for sure. So thank you all again so very much, everybody, for joining us. Tomorrow, we are going to meet with Angela Brand, an awesome, phenomenal lady, the fire coach. I am so excited to have her. Her and I just met recently. So she will be presenting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then on Friday, we have Adriana Brunner, who is going to be speaking with us about FICO scores. She's a membership management director, I believe is her title, at My Point Credit Union. They're also a big sponsor of the Empowerment Empire. She and one of her business colleagues are going to be coming on to talk to us about credit and FICO scores and what that means to you. So stay tuned all month long. If you are not registered for the program specifically, then you will, or you may be able to catch the program in one of our groups or sometimes live on my personal page. But if you want all of the replays and you want to have all of the videos that you can download, make sure you're registering. And this is a fundraiser for the IWB Mastermind and the Magistra Magazine Young Woman Entrepreneur Education Foundation. So if you go to magistra.us, magistra.us, and go to our education tab, you will see that we are offering annual scholarships to women who need a cash money voucher for something like business cards, paying for their websites, etc. One of our big goals is to be able to offer that opportunity to women who want to start their businesses. So when you register for $100 as a business owner for the IWB Mastermind, that money goes straight into our donation bin for the Young Woman Entrepreneur Education Foundation. So thank you so very much, everyone, for your time, for participating, for being awesome. Remember, when you're watching the video, put that hashtag replay that lets us know that you saw this, you received some great value. The link for Forbes Riley's Sunday pitch class is here, as well as how to get in contact with me so you can make that free appointment. Remember what we said, you can't get those questions answered if you don't ask them. So let's get you prepared. Let's get you feeling like you are on the right track, because as women entrepreneurs, as business owners, as moms, we oftentimes put ourselves last. This is where we put ourselves first, which eventually will also help to bring our family even more so elevated. So with that, I am Vihil Vigil. I am a women's empowerment business coach. I'm the CEO of the Empowerment Empire and your gracious host for the IWB Mastermind May Money Talks program. I will see you all again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Pacific tonight, if you'll be joining us for the more inside conversation around how to get your business legally protected. Have a great rest of your day.